Welcome to the Gab Talks by the Independent Press Award. I'm your hostess, Gabby Olczak. To participate in the 2025 Book Award competitions, please visit independentpressaward.com and nycbigbookaward.com. Welcome to today's episode of the Gab Talks. We're so excited to sit down with a writer whose life reads like one of his own stories, full of curiosity, humor, and a relentless pursuit of the written word. David is the author of an eclectic array of more than 24 award-winning books spanning various genres. He's been honored with 46 literary awards since the launch of his imprint, Last Kid Books, in 2019. The Life and Times of the Last Kid picked a 2021 New York City Big Book Award Distinguished Favorite for Best Cover Design. David grew up in the small town of Tomah, Wisconsin, a childhood he later chronicles in his fictional memoir, The Life and Times of the Last Kid Picked. He has roamed the world as a journalist and novelist with stops in Boston, Mansfield, Belvoir, Cambridge, Brussels, Tokyo, California, Long Island, Brooklyn, and my personal favorite, Paris. And now he's back home again in Madison, Wisconsin. A graduate of Belvoir College, David's writing career has spanned continents and genres. He's the former editor of the Mansfield News, where he earned 9 awards for editorial excellence, and of the Tokyo Journal in Japan. His essays and columns have appeared in the New York Times, the LA Times, Chicago Tribune, Minneapolis Star Tribune, San Francisco Examiner, and many more. In 2019, David founded his own publishing imprint, Last Kid Books, and as we mentioned earlier, in the last 5 years, it's produced an eclectic catalog of fiction and nonfiction, earning 46 literary awards across a dozen genres. Amazing. David splits his time in Madison, Wisconsin, and Paris with his wife, Junko. Congratulations, David. Welcome to the Gab Talks. It's wonderful to see you again.
It's always great to see you.
You know, I want to start with your first book, David. Can you hold it up for us? It's a fictional memoir, The Life and Times of the Last Kid Picked. So it hysterically and nostalgically captures growing up in Tomah, Wisconsin in the 1950s. You say it's a memory dump with fictional embellishments. I love that. So how closely does it resemble your childhood? And is there anything worse than being the last kid picked?
Well, yes. First of all, it resembles my childhood very, very closely, although I didn't see it as being as funny as it was when I was going through it.
I'm sure you didn't. Yeah.
All right. One of the points I make, and you picked up on this, is that there are kids who don't get picked at all. Being the last one means that at least you get to participate, but there are kids who stand outside of the group and just vegetate, and they live in exclusion and a kind of a minimal fear all the way through grade school. And I had since there were times when I didn't get picked. Well, mostly I get picked in football. The ones who get picked last, they just say, "You go long." That means that you run down the field and nobody looks at you when you stand there waving your arms. But there were kids. Yeah, but I was very close to the kids who weren't picked at all. I felt a great deal of empathy for them, and I think that experience of being the last kid picked and knowing the kids who didn't get picked is a trigger for a deeper feeling of empathy for everyone, for the left out people.
Yeah, there's always someone who's left out. You know, the book really captures the texture of growing up in small town America, which I love this. You refer to it as a freelance childhood when kids did stuff on their own before parents organized play dates. Nowadays, everything kids do is organized, everything. And I love the way you describe how you would go out, especially during the summer in the morning, and you didn't come home until you were starving to death for dinner. And your parents never even asked what you did all day.
The best, it was even better if I didn't go home at all and I actually stole dinner at somebody else's house.
How often did that happen? I'm sure pretty
Oh,
often.
well, in when I was in Toma growing up, it happened once in a while when my mother moved us to Madison, which is a bigger city. I had my friend Dick Albright. His mother just took me in and fed me every night, and my mother didn't have to worry about feeding me at all.
She must have really appreciated that. So what do you think kids today are missing or gaining that your generation had, David? And what was
Uh,
magical about that time and what's changed?
when you were that when in those days, if you had to be complete. Every kid complained about every kid's always complained about being bored in the summertime.
Yeah.
But I could sit on the stoop and pout and be bored for about 5 minutes, and then I would be so bored that I would go do something. And kids had, they were unfettered. Parents didn't want them around the house, and parents didn't care where they went and what they did. The community did a good job of surveilling kids roaming through the neighborhoods and the fields and the streets and so forth. And so a kid couldn't get into big trouble. My friends had to be creative in what we did. We were independent to a degree that I don't see, that I think is past forever. We won't see kids running as free as we
No.
were running when we were kids. Yeah.
What do you want readers to get out of reading this book? What kind of messages do you want to convey? Or is it
I
just
would.
so funny?
I mean, ideally, it would be nice if we could set kids free again, but I don't think we're going to do that. But the the thing that I get from people I talk to who read the book, first of all, I want everybody to have fun when they read one of my books. Fun is the important thing. A writer should be an entertainer. But
Absolutely.
the other thing is the power of memory. One of my readers, Bill Rowe, he lives in Neenah, Wisconsin now,
Mm.
and he read my book, and he came to one of my readings, and his wife came up to me and said, "You changed Bill's life. You
How so?
gave you gave she said I gave him a connection and to his childhood and a substance to his childhood that he didn't appreciate when he was a kid and he'd forgotten as a grown up. But
Um,
she said I brought his growing up back to life, and he was grateful for that.
well, that is true. I was sharing some portions of the book with my mom, and we had a big laugh over it because it is really funny. So many things that you write about, and she has the same memories as you did when she was growing up. You're a little bit younger than her, but the same sort of thing. Parents didn't care where you were, what you did. You never dare say that you were bored because your parents would give you loads of things to do around the house.
Right? Yeah, chores.
Chores, exactly, loads of things.